Part 2. Directions. In this part, you will hear 3 conversations. The conversations will not be repeated. There are 4 questions for each conversation. For each question, choose the right answer, A, B, C, or D. Then on the answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer you have chosen. Questions 9 to 12.
Listen to a conversation on campus between 2 students.
First, you have some time to look at questions 9 to 12.
Hi, are you Paula?
Jim?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Glad to meet you.
So, you need some tutoring in English?
Yeah, I'm taking English composition and I'm not doing very well on my essays.
Right. Well, first, let's see if we can figure out a time to meet that we're both free.
Okay.
How about Mondays? Maybe in the morning? I don't have any classes until 11 on Mondays.
That'd work, but I was hoping we could, meet more than once a week.
Oh, well, Tuesdays are out. I've got classes and, I work at the library part-time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I could get together on Wednesdays.
In the morning?
Probably 9:30 would be best. That way we'd have an hour to work before I'd have to get ready for my 11 o'clock.
So that would be 2 hours a week then?
I could do that.
Oh, but would that be extra? Would I need to pay you for the extra session?
No, just so you meet me here at the Learning Center and we both sign in, then I'll get paid. Tutoring's free, to you, I mean. The school pays me, but we both have to show up. If you don't show up and sign in for a session, then I don't get paid, so...
Oh, don't worry about that. I really need the help. I won't miss any sessions unless I'm sick or something.
Okay, then. So you want me to help you with your essays?
Right. I could bring you some that have, comments on them. I'm getting C's and...
Well, that's not too bad. Once I see some of your writing, we should be able to pull that up to a B.
You think so?
Sure. But I need to explain something. Some of my students in the past, they expected me to write their essays for them, but that's not what a tutor's supposed to do. My job is to help you be a better writer.
Oh, I understand that. But you'll read my essays, right?
Oh yeah, no problem. We'll read them together, and I'll make suggestions.
Great. I think part of the problem is I just don't understand the teacher's comments. Maybe you could help me figure them out.
Sure. Who's the teacher?
Simpson?
No problem. I've tutored a couple of her students, so I know more or less where she's coming from. Okay then, I guess we'll meet here on Monday?
I'll be here. 9:30, you said.
Just sign in when you get here.
What does the woman need? Why is the man concerned about the woman's attendance? What does the man agree to do? What does the man imply about the woman's teacher?
Questions 13 to 16.
Listen to a conversation on campus between a student and a professor.
First, you have some time to look at questions 13 to 16.
Thanks for seeing me, Professor Williams.
Glad to, Alice. What do you have on your mind?
Well, I got a little mixed up when I started to go over my notes from the last class, so I had a few questions.
Shoot.
Okay. I understand the three basic sources of personnel for multinational companies. That's fairly self-explanatory.
Host country, home country, and third country.
Right. But then you started talking about staffing patterns that... Let me see. Okay. You said staffing patterns may vary depending on the length of time that the multinational company has been operating. And you gave some examples, but I got confused and now I can't read my notes.
Okay. Well, one pattern is to rely on home country managers to staff the key positions when the company opens, but gradually moving more host country nationals into upper management as the company grows.
So, for example, if a French company opened a factory in Canada, then French management would gradually replace themselves with Canadian managers? Is that what you mean?
Right. I think I used that very example in class. So, do you want to try to explain the second pattern to me?
Sure. I think it's the one where home country nationals are put in charge of the company if it's located in a developed country, but in a developing country, then home country nationals manage the company sort of indefinitely.
Right again. And an example of that would be...
Maybe using German management for a Swiss company in Germany, but they might send Swiss management to provide leadership for a Swiss company in...
How about Zimbabwe?
This is one of the confusing parts. Zimbabwe has a very old and highly developed culture, so...
But it's still defined as a developing country because of the economic base, which is being developed now.
Ah, okay. I guess that makes sense. Then the example of the American company with British management, when the company's in India, that would be a third country pattern?
Yes. In fact, this pattern's fairly prevalent among multinational companies in the United States. Many Scottish or English managers have been hired for top management positions at United States subsidiaries in the former British colonies, India, Jamaica, the West Indies, some parts of Africa.
Okay, so I've got all the examples right now.
Anything else?
Just one thing. There were some typical patterns for certain countries.
Like the last example.
No, this came later in the lecture. Something about Japan and Europe?
Oh, right. I probably said that both Japanese multinational companies and European companies tend to assign senior-level home country managers to overseas locations for their entire careers, whereas multinational companies in the United States view overseas assignments as temporary, so they may actually find themselves reporting to a senior-level manager from the host country who has more experience.
So, for example, a Japanese company in the United States would most probably have senior-level Japanese managers with mid-level managers maybe from the United States. But in Japan, the senior-level Japanese managers at an American company would probably have mid-level American managers reporting to them.
Well, generalities are always a little tricky, but for the most part, that would be a typical scenario, because living as a permanent expatriate is a career move in Japan, but a temporary strategy in the United States.
Okay, that's interesting.
And important for you to know as a business major with an interest in international business. You're still on that track, aren't you?
I sure am, but, I wasn't thinking in terms of living abroad for my entire career. That really is a huge commitment, and something to ask about going in. Anyway, like you say, most American companies view overseas assignments as temporary. That's more what I have in mind for myself, I mean.
Why does the woman go to see her professor? According to the professor, which factor causes staffing patterns to vary? Which of the following would be an example of a third country pattern? According to the professor, how do senior-level Japanese managers view their assignments abroad?
Questions 17 to 20.
Listen to part of a conversation in the bookstore.
First, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20.
Excuse me. I'm looking for someone who can help me with the textbook reservation program.
Oh, well, I can do that. What do you need?
Okay, my friend told me that I could get used books if I pre-order them now.
That's right. You want to do that?
I think so, but I'm not sure how it works.
Actually, it's fairly straightforward. We have a short form for you to fill out. Do you know what you're going to take next semester?
Yeah, I do.
And you have the course names and the schedule numbers for all your classes?
Uh-huh.
Okay, then. Just put that information down on the form and make a check mark in the box if you want recommended books as well as required books. And you said you were interested in used books, right?
Right.
So mark the box for used books, sign the form, and bring it back to me.
Do I have to pay now, or do you want a deposit?
No, you can pay when you pick up the books.
And when can I do that?
The week before classes begin.
That's good, but, what if I change my schedule? I don't plan to, but...
It happens. Don't worry. If you change classes, you can just bring the books back anytime 2 weeks from the first day of class to get a full refund. Of course, you'll need the original cash register receipt and a photo ID. And if it's a new book, you can't have any marks in it. But you said you wanted used books, so it won't matter.
Yeah, that's the main reason why I want to do this, because I'll have a better chance to get used books.
If there are used books available and you mark the form, that's what we'll pull for you.
Okay, thanks a lot. I'll just fill this out and bring it back to you later today. I don't have all the numbers with me, the section numbers for the classes.
Fine. We need those numbers because when different professors are teaching the same class, they don't always order the same books.
Right. So, will you be here this afternoon?
I probably will, but if I'm not, just give the form to the person in this office. Don't give it to one of the student employees, though. They're usually very good about getting the forms back to the office, but sometimes it gets really busy, and you know how it is.
Sure. Well, I'll bring it back to the office myself.
That's probably a good idea. And one more thing. I should tell you that the used books tend to go first. So if you want to be sure that you get used books...
You know what? I'm going to go right back to the dorm to get those numbers now, while you're still here.
Okay, that's good.
What does the man need from the bookstore? What does the man need if he wants a full refund? Listen again to part of the conversation and then answer the following question.
Don't give it to one of the student employees, though. They're usually very good about getting the forms back to the office, but sometimes it gets really busy, and you know how it is.
What does the woman mean when she says this?
Sometimes it gets really busy, and you know how it is.
What does the man need to do now?
That is the end of Part 2.